Part 19. Rebirth of a Farming Wife. Author, Tien Ni. Chapter 181. Mr. Su is just a businessman, but no one dares to touch the Su family easily. It is for this reason that the rules set by the ancestors of the Su family to separate the second wife of the direct descendants are also out of long-term considerations, leaving a way out for the Su family. Brothers of the same origin, even if they are separated, the relationship is still there. This is also the reason why brothers Su Hengji and Su Hongxian have both civil and military talents but have not embarked on official careers. There is no need to alarm my father-in-law for the time being. Although Sun Tongpan is the general magistrate of Yiyang Mansion and has a high position, he is not directly involved with our military. Even if he wants to do something, it is not that easy, Han Yu said in a deep voice. Although it was an unexpected promotion, it just moved the time forward. Things are still under his control. He is not a pedantic and aloof person. He will not be polite to the Yu family where he can borrow strength, but there is no need to bother with things that can be solved by himself. Yu family, it seems that he is too incompetent. But we'd better take more precautions. There's also that person who might be causing trouble behind our backs. We'd better be more cautious. Su Wenyu was still worried and wanted to say more, but Han Yu simply lowered his head. Swallowed something into his mouth. A moment later, Su Wenyu sat panting in Han Yu's arms, her mind went blank and she couldn't remember anything. Listen to me and take good care of yourself and your children. Yu man is not such a useless person. You know these things well and will arrange them. You are just worrying about them. As long as you take good care of yourself, I will have nothing to worry about. Everything else, it's all little things. Su Wenyu thought about it for a while. In her previous life, Han Yu did not rely on the help of the Su family, but he still climbed to such a high position. This shows how powerful his methods are. She has always believed in Han Yu's abilities. To put it bluntly, in her opinion, Han Yu was even more powerful than the emperor. She only cared about him and became confused, so she nodded, I listen to you, but you must pay attention to safety. Both me and the child in my belly are still relying on you. Han Yu looked at his wife's blindly trusting eyes and felt soft in his heart. Don't worry, I will be fine for you and the child in your belly. Now that she has told Han Yu everything she can think of and know, Su Wenyu really doesn't think about it anymore. Her brain will be enough. She can just leave those twists and turns that take too much mental energy to Han Yu. Mrs. Wang Sun came back from the banquet at the Han family. Her face was cold and cold all the way. She had never suffered such a big loss since she came to Silla town. She was ridiculed and threatened by Su Wenyu in front of so many people, and she lost all her dignity. After losing everything, she still had nothing to do with Su Wenyu. She didn't know how true or false Su Wenyu's words were, and whether he really had control over her. Although she has been very powerful in the Wang family by relying on her mother's family in recent years, and even her mother-in-law has to give her 3 points, but she is the only one who knows in her heart that her husband's heart is not with her, otherwise she would not be so ruthless to suppress those concubines and aunts. Also holding a breath in her heart, if her husband knew what she had done, he would probably be even more indifferent to her. Madam, don't be angry. That Madam Han is really ignorant. It's for her own good that Madam teaches her a lesson. It's just that she doesn't appreciate it. She also goes against Madam and makes Madam so embarrassed. She should find a chance to treat her well, teach her a lesson and let her know that there is no limit to the truth. The maid who went with Wang Sun looked at Wang Sun's face and said angrily. Wang Sun didn't appreciate it. This girl should be replaced. Don't think that she didn't see that day. She was not a peaceful girl just because she was flirting with the master because of her beauty. She wanted to crawl into bed with just this ability. It's early. Shut up. It's not your turn to talk about what to do. It's not a worry. Get out. The maid didn't know how she had offended the Wang Sun family. Everyone knew that this master's temper would not dare to stay any longer, so she was so frightened that she immediately retreated. Seeing the maid exiting, Ms. Wang and Sun were still upset and smashed another vase, followed by a crackling sound in the room. When Mr. Wang came back, he saw that the house was in a mess. He knew that Mr. Sun was probably angry at the Han family. Seeing the ugly look on Mrs. Sun's stern face, a flash of disgust flashed in Mr. Wang's eyes, but he quickly concealed it. Han Yu is a powerful person. He can't take advantage of him at all. Han Yu's wife is probably not far behind. Just look at the reception at the Han family today. There is no detail that is not arranged carefully and appropriately. Behind the scenes to help Han Yu, I heard that he was pregnant with twins, so he was a lucky man. I didn't want this in his family, and he didn't do a good job in managing the family and having children. Seeing her husband coming over, Mrs. Sun's face softened. She was finally not as charming as those charming women in the past. But she didn't know that Mr. Wang was holding back the disgust in his heart. He wanted to know the situation of today's banquet, and he had to rely on his father-in-law for promotion matters. Just came here. Speaking of what happened at the banquet, Mrs. Sun naturally couldn't tell her the things that Su Wenyu threatened her with. She just picked up some unimportant things and emphasized how rude and unruly Su Wenyu was, describing Su Wenyu as an unruly person. Mr. Wang knew what kind of character his wife was, and he did not believe that the arrangements at the Han family banquet today could make him look at Han Yu's wife with admiration, and make Sun, a shrew, suffering a loss seem to him to be another level of awesomeness. Fang Chen only found out afterwards that Wang Sun had suffered a loss at the banquet of the Han family, so she immediately went to the Wang family to find Wang Sun. Wang Sun was not a bad person, and she was one of the few people that Fang Chen respected and could call her a friend. Yes, I heard that my good friend suffered a loss and fell into the hands of the same person as her. Fang Chen felt that she was in the same boat. Sister, I should have reminded you earlier. You don't know how cunning Su Wenyu is. At the birthday party of the county magistrate's wife, she didn't even give me any face. She also instigated the people in the county government to drive me out. When have I ever been treated like this? It's a great shame. I will remember it for the rest of my life. But I'm incompetent, so I can only keep it in mind. Who made my family fall into decline? Now that Lord Han has been promoted, I can't do anything about them. Sister is different. Uncle is the Tongpan of Yiyang Prefecture. Who dares to bully sister? Uncle will definitely not agree. If this is true, I thought she was arrogant in front of me, but I didn't expect that she was also arrogant in front of sister. She is too lawless. She is just a little girl. She really thinks no one can control her. Wang Sun was so angry that she slammed the table and immediately decided to find a way to embarrass Su Wenyu and teach her a lesson. Sister is right. Su Wenyu is just too arrogant. If we don't teach her a lesson, she will become even more arrogant. Rebirth of a Farming Wife. Author, Tian. Chapter 182. Mrs. Fang Chen had been stuck in her heart for so long, and now she finally found the opportunity. Naturally, she encouraged Mr. Sun to deal with Su Wenyu. Thinking of Su Wenyu's unlucky appearance, Ms. Fang Chen felt happy in her heart. Don't worry, sister, I will definitely speak out for you, not only for you, but also for myself. After all, the merchant's daughter is short-sighted and thinks that she threatens me with a few words. I can't do anything to her. I'll do it later. Let her know what the rules of officialdom are, and she will be in trouble if she doesn't follow the rules, Wang Sun said with a look of pride on her face, which was the confidence given to her by her mother-in-law. That's what my sister is saying. I think that the Su family's daughter, a merchant, and Mr. Han, who are also from a peasant family, have not been educated much. They should learn the rules. Don't think that they can win everything by flattering and getting promoted. No one cares about it anymore. After getting the right word from MRS Wang and Sun, MRS Fang Chen left happily, feeling much relieved. She originally thought that she couldn't get out of this mood, but she didn't expect that bitch of Sue's to seek death, and actually ended up with MRS Sunday when they met. She didn't know what kind of temperament Sun had. How could such a domineering person be willing to suffer such a loss under Sue? Now there was something exciting to watch. As soon as MRS Fang Chen left, MRS Wang Sun called her trusted nanny over. "Mom, go to the provincial capital for me and tell my mother, forget it, I'll go there myself." MRS Wang Sun said that she changed her mind again. First she was afraid that her grandma would not be able to explain the matter. Then when she came to her father's side, she would need his help in planning her husband's affairs. The promotion position was taken by Han Yu, so she had to find a way. It's not that good for your husband to be promoted and stay in an 8th grade position all the time. Mr. Wang heard that Sun was going to the provincial capital, and it was probably because of his affairs. It was not in vain that he endured the disgust and went to Sun's room these past few days, and finally achieved some results. I hope Sun will not be so useless this time. Get things done for him. The Wang family of Zhou lived in the area around the Wang Sun family. The Wang Sun family was going to the provincial capital. The Wang family of Zhou quickly got the news and discussed it with Mr. Zhou. "Master, the reason why MRS Sun went to the provincial capital is probably because of Mr. Han's promotion." At the banquet that day, MRS Sun and MRS Han had a very unpleasant quarrel. "I am afraid that going this time will be detrimental to Mr. Han. What do you think?" "Sir, why don't we send a message to Mr. Han? After all, Mr. Han is your immediate boss now. If Mr. Han accepts your favor, he might be able to take better care of you in the future. Zhou Wang is not a peaceful person, and she is ambitious. She wants her husband to climb up." When she got the news that Sun was going to the provincial capital, she was naturally not willing to just leave it alone. She had to gain some benefits for her family. Besides, she couldn't see Su Wenyu living so leisurely, and wanted to find something for Su Wenyu to do to make Su Wenyu worry. Although Zhou Wang was fawning on her face, she still remembered the past things in her heart, thinking that if Su Wenyu was pregnant, she would worry too much. Maybe the baby in her belly would be bad. Let's see how proud Su Wenyu is. Well, if we go to report to Mr. Han, I'm afraid it won't be good if Sun Tongpan and Mr. Wang find out Mr. Zhou is not a courageous person, and hesitation is not as decisive as a woman named Zhou Wang. You don't know. You don't need to tell Mr. Han directly. I will tell MRS Han the news and let MRS Han reveal it to Mr. Han. Even if MRS Wang knows it, she will only think that I accidentally revealed it in my words. Don't blame us for this trivial matter. We can sell well with Mr. Han here. In this way, we only take advantage and don't suffer any losses. Why should we hesitate? Well, I'll leave this matter to you, Madam." Mr. Zhou decided to listen to Mr. Wang. "Okay, I'll go to MRS Han right now, and let MRS Han know my sincerity. I will report to her immediately after getting the news." Seeing Master Zhou agreed, Prince Zhou happily arranged for Su Wenyu to go there. "Madam, MRS Zhou is here to visit." Su Wenyu was eating bird's nest when she heard a servant announcing that MRS Zhou Wang was coming. A look of impatience flashed across her face. MRS Zhou was not a good person this week. She didn't know why she came here so early in the morning. I don't know if he is here to curry favor or to sow discord. No matter what the reason is, Su Wenyu doesn't really want to see this person. Go and tell MRS Zhou that I'm not feeling well and can't entertain guests, and ask MRS Zhou to forgive me. The little maid took the order and went down. When MRS Zhou heard that Su Wenyu refused to see her, her face was a little ugly, but she quickly recovered her smile. I really have something very important to see MRS Han. This matter is related to Mr. Han's future. That's why I rushed here in such a hurry just to report to Mr. Han. Please go and inform Mr. Han again. Be sure to let Mrs. Han see me, don't miss the big deal. The little maid received Su Wenayu's order and originally didn't want to pay much attention to the Zhou Wang family. However, when she heard that the Zhou Wang family said the matter was so serious and that it was related to the future of the adults, the little maid was shocked. She did not dare to make the decision on such a big matter by herself. Immediately went inside to report back, it would be terrible if we missed something important to the master. Did she say that? Su Wenayu put down the bowl, wiped her mouth, and narrowed her eyes slightly, thinking about what kind of trick Zhou Wang was trying to play. Yes, madam. Madam Zhou also said that she came here this time to inform the Lord. She asked the slave to tell madam that you must see her. Otherwise, you will miss important events and harm Lord Han. She also said it's something related to Mrs. Wang. Hearing the maid talking about Madam Wang, Su Wenayu's eyes flashed with sarcasm. Madam Zhou Wang really had good intentions, but since Madam Zhou Wang was so anxious to see her, she really couldn't refuse to see her, otherwise she would be letting her good intentions down. Since Madam Zhou is so thoughtful, we can't miss her. Go and welcome Madam Zhou in. The maid took the order and went. Not long after, she brought Zhou in. Zhou looked very anxious, as if she was really anxious. Seeing Su Wenayu, she hurriedly said, Madam Han, I shouldn't disturb you so early in the morning, so as not to affect your pregnancy, but the matter is too urgent and there is no way. I came to inform you as soon as I got the news, otherwise I'm afraid it would be too late. Oh? I don't know what made Madam Zhou so anxious. It must be a big deal that can make Madam Zhou so calm. Madam Han, Madam Sun took a carriage to the city early in the morning. Madam, this is the invitation from Madam Tongpan to you, saying that she invites you to attend a banquet hosted by Madam Tongpan. Madam Tongpan is Madam Wang's biological mother. Nanny Chen came over with the invitation and said worriedly. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of a Farming Wife. Author, Tianni. Chapter 183. Su Wenayu was worried about this obvious hungman banquet, and it would take at least a day to get from Xinluo town to Fukan. A pregnant woman like her could only rush slowly, and it would take 2 or 3 days just for the journey. Su Wenayu didn't. She couldn't think about it. After all, it was a post from Mrs. Tongpan. As a descendant of a lower-ranking official, she couldn't refuse, and she didn't want to cause trouble to Han Yu. As for the hungman banquet, Su Wenayu was not afraid. The soldiers came to cover up the water and earth. The only thing what worries me is the child in my belly. When Han Yu came back in the evening, he saw that his wife and the servants at home were all looking sad. When asked the reason, their faces were a little unhappy. He knew that Wang's son had gone to Fukan, and he also knew that Sun Tongpan was definitely there. There will be moves. He leaves early and comes back late every day in the military camp. After running the business for several months, he is not in vain. He is not afraid of Sun Tongpan's little moves. He will naturally have a way to deal with it when the time comes. Unexpectedly, they got the idea first. On his wife. You don't have to go there, just ask someone to give you some gifts later. The gifts don't need to be too many, just ordinary ones, so as not to say that we bribed the superior officials, Han Yu said nonchalantly, and handed the post to the servant without any hesitation. Don't take it to heart. Su Wenayu was a little worried when she saw Han Yu acting like this. It wasn't that she was too timid, it was just that matters in the officialdom were complicated. The first level of officialdom was overwhelming. Sun Chengmiao was still the general judge of Yiyang Mansion. Although there was civil strife in the court, there was no need to worry about him participating in the performance in front of the emperor. Han Yu had a copy, but he still had rights. MRS Tongpan sent a message to invite you. Wouldn't it be a good idea not to go? What happened today is probably because of MRS Wang. At the last banquet, I suppressed MRS Wang and made her lose face. She is probably I have a grudge and want to take revenge on me, so I asked MRS Tongpan to leave a message for me. If I don't go, it will make them even more grudgy. I'm not afraid of them doing anything, but I'm pregnant with a child now, so I'm afraid of getting hurt. Su Wenyu is not the kind of person who is afraid of trouble, but it involves Hanyu, and she is afraid that if she doesn't go, they will use tricks to frame Hanyu behind his back, and she is also worried about the child in her belly, so she is so hesitant. Now that I know it's because of MRS Wang, I can't go. Wouldn't it give MRS Wang a chance to take revenge on you? If I hadn't taken care of the child in my belly, I wouldn't be afraid. I would definitely be able to take care of MRS Tongpan and MRS Wang. Hey. The child in my belly is more important now, so I won't take that risk. It's just that I refuse here. MRS Tongpan, Master Tongpan will definitely find a way to deal with you, so you have to be more careful. Do not worry. Su Wenyu didn't go there in person, but she still sent the nanny next to her to show her importance. Although Aunt Li was sometimes a bit rigid and refused to change, she had a lot of tricks, which she learned from the big house. Don't worry about not being able to cope. Madam asked the old slave to come and complain to Madam Tongpian. Madam wanted to come, but it's really difficult to be pregnant with twins. She can't even leave the house on weekdays, let alone come to a place so far away from Fukan. If she's pregnant with twins, if the child has something, I am afraid that MRS Tongpan will be upset, so she specially prepared a gift for the old slave to deliver. MRS Tongpan did not expect that Su Wenyu would not even give her face. She would deliberately torment Su Wenyu because she was pregnant with a child, otherwise she would not have called Su Wenyu under the guise of a banquet. Unexpectedly, Su Wenyu's small-side MRS Wei actually dared to reject her. She was really arrogant. No wonder the woman was so angry. So she was too arrogant. Mom, let me just say it. The Su family is not an economical person and is too arrogant. I'll forget it. My husband is only an 8th rank official, 1 rank lower than Mr. Han. She won't give him any face. Yes, mother, you are a dignified MRS Tongpan, and MRS Su dares to do this. She really doesn't take people seriously. Ms. Sun Wang tried her best to fan the flames in front of MRS Tongpan. When MRS Tongpan heard that MRS Su dared to refuse her invitation, her face was not good at first. After hearing MRS Sun's words, she became even more unfavorable to Su Wenyu. She was thinking about how to punish Su Wenyu and vent her anger on her daughter's behalf. Earn your own face. Don't worry, daughter. Since MRS Su refuses to come because she is refusing to have a baby in her belly, I will go to Xinyi County in person. I want to see what other reasons she has to evade. MRS Tongpan's face turned solemn. Quite a bit majestic. MRS Wang's son got support from her mother, MRS Tongpan, and went to Mr. Tongpan again. This time it was about Mr. Wang. If she didn't hurry up, her father would not only have her daughter, but also her husband. I'm afraid the son-in-law won't take it very seriously, but fortunately her mother is there to help. Dad, you have to think of something for Dongsheng. You can't always let him stay in such an 8th level position. Dongsheng is your direct son-in-law. If he becomes successful, it will also look good on you. This time, the deputy lieutenant the position has been taken by a new man named Han. Dad, please find another position for Dongsheng. Yes, sir, you should pay more attention to your son-in-law's affairs. Okay, you two are housewives. What do you know? You think it's so easy to get promoted? You can get whatever position you want? Even if I am a general judge, I can't ignore the court's laws. otherwise there will be many people waiting for you. They are trying to catch me, not to mention that the situation in the court is very chaotic now. The emperor's rights have been emptied out, and my prestige as a general judge has been greatly reduced. The prefect refuses to deal with me, so I have to keep my tail between my legs. You just can't stop. Sun Bachan said angrily, if it weren't for his legitimate daughter in front of him, he wouldn't want to care about it at all. At the beginning, he said that Wang Dongshen was not good enough and was too timid to make it happen, but his daughter screamed and clamored to marry him, but in the end he didn't. You're wrong. If it weren't for him, he wouldn't even be able to reach the 8th rank. How could he be so useless and become his son-in-law, Sun Bachan? But Dongshen is your legitimate son-in-law, you have to think of a way, otherwise even a little bitch can climb on top of me, step on my head and dominate me. I can't stand it. That's what you asked for. Who made you insist on marrying such a useless man in the first place? If you want to be promoted, you won't seek it yourself. Every time you come back to your parents' home to work as a lobbyist, do you have anything else to say? Dad, it's useless to talk about this now. Just for the sake of my daughter, help Dongshen. Sun Bachan was angry. After all, he was his daughter-in-law and son-in-law. How could he not help? There are no other positions available for the time being. If the son-in-law wants to be promoted, he still has to find a way to move the position from the boy named Han. Fortunately, the boy named Han doesn't have a deep foundation. Rebirth of a Farming Wife. Author, Tianni. Chapter 184. There is no airtight wall in the world. They didn't tell anyone about Su Wenayu's refusal to attend MRS Tongpan's banquet. They didn't know who got the news. Soon everyone in the circle knew about it. They had different opinions, but they all treated Su Wenayu like this. After all, Tong San is the second in command of the Yang Mansion. Although the authority is not as good as before, the majesty is not something that those below them can challenge. Some admire Su Wenayu's courage, while others think she overestimates her capabilities, and she even felt that Su Wenayu didn't know what was good or bad. She was just a little deputy lieutenant's wife who had just been promoted, yet she was so arrogant that even the judge's wife dared to refuse her. People here in Silla town know the inside story better. Everyone saw that Su Wenayu offended the Wang family that day. It was expected that MRS Wang would instigate MRS Tongpan to have an attack on Su Wenayu. Otherwise, MRS Wang's her status is not the highest in Silla town. How come no one dares to offend her? She is just afraid of this relationship. Wang's son is the legitimate daughter of the Sun family. If anyone dares to offend, it is normal for the Sun family to support her. In the past few days, because of Han Yu's promotion, many ladies came to visit. After this news came out, the Han family was considered clean. If MRS Han offended MRS Tongpan, they would not dare to interact with each other again, lest they offend MRS Tongpan. It's okay if you don't get any benefits, don't let MRS Tongpan worry about it. After Fang Chen learned about this incident, she waited for Su Wenayu's unlucky day. Su Wenayu had now offended not only MRS Wang and Son, but also Madame Tongxian, and she was able to get away with it. MRS Zhou was also gloating about her misfortune. That day when she went to the Han family to report the news, Mr. Su was still putting on airs and didn't give her any face. Now she's fine. She offended MRS Tongpan. Let's see what Mr. Su will do. Maybe Mr. Han will be very happy. She will soon lose her official position, seeing how arrogant she is. The Lu Zhao family had always been on Su Wenayu's side. Seeing that Su Wenayu had caused such a big trouble, they were worried about Su Wenayu and afraid that they would be implicated. They hurried to the Han family, but did not see Su Wenayu in person. Please forgive me, madams, our madam is no better than ordinary pregnant women. It is really hard to be pregnant with twins. She has been feeling a little unwell for the past 2 days. She even declined Madam Judge's invitation. She is really out of energy and is falling asleep right now. I'm afraid that I won't be able to see the ladies, so I ask the ladies to forgive me and wait until our wives are better to make an appointment with them, Grandma Chen said politely. But we have something very important and we want to see Yu Eniang. How about we wait here until Yu Eniang wakes up? Lu Zhao has the best relationship with Su Wenyu among these ladies, and they are also the most involved. Originally thinking that it was a good thing for Han Yu to get promoted, their family would also benefit from it. Who knew that something like this happened again? Wang Xun's attitude towards her was very bad that night. It was probably because of Yu Eniang's relationship that this time I don't know if it will implicate her. At this point, Mrs. Lu Zhao doesn't know whether she should regret it, but no matter what, she has no way out. Unlike other ladies, she is wise enough not to interfere in this matter. Even if she doesn't intervene, Mrs. Wang and Sun will still do the same. He would not spare her, and the Han family would be offended, so she could only stand firmly on Su Wenyu's side. Unexpectedly, she didn't see anyone when she came over, and she became even more anxious. Mrs. Lu, there is no need to worry, but for the sake of interrogating Madam, if this is the case, our Madam has left a message, and she will have her own way to deal with it, so that all Madams don't have to worry and just do their own thing. Well, Mrs. Tongpan is not an ordinary person. How is Yu Eniang going to deal with it? Just relying on those words that threaten Mrs. Wang will not work. If Mrs. Wang is really afraid, she will not bring the matter to Mrs. Tongpan. Yu Eniang is young after all, and she doesn't know the rules and regulations in the officialdom, and you will suffer losses if you act on your own initiative. In Mrs. Liu's opinion, our wife is a person who only knows how to act on her own initiative. Mrs. Tongpan is powerful, but our wife is not someone who can be bullied by anyone. It is not just Mrs. Wang who has a natal family. If we really want to discuss it, Lord Tongpan is only a 6th grade official, so he is certainly the best in this small place like ours, but when he enters Chang'an City, a 5th and 6th grade official is just a bottom-ranked being, and he still lacks the weight to be arrogant. Chen, after she finished speaking, there was a hint of sneer and contempt on her face. There are some things that Su Wenyu, the master, can't say, but it's okay for them to say it as servants. Moreover, Nanny Chen and Nanny Li both followed Su Wenyu from their parents' homes, and their identities are different. The Lu Zhao family originally came here to discuss ideas with Su Wenyu, but they didn't expect that the servants of the Han family would be so stubborn and even look down upon Mrs. Tongpan. Doesn't this also represent the master's attitude? They knew the Wang family's her natal family is the Sun family, but she knows little about Su Wenyu's natal family. She only knows that the Su family is not an ordinary merchant, but she doesn't know the details. After all, they haven't reached that level of relationship yet. Listening to the meaning of what Nanny Chen said, the Su family is actually involved with Chang'an. For Nanny Chen to say it so forcefully, the backer must have a high status, at least higher than the official of Lord Tong. That's why I don't take Mrs. Tongpan seriously, but she is in Chang'an after all, so she is a bit far away. Isn't Mrs. Su's natal family a wealthy businessman? Why do you think this means, Grandma? Is there anything else we don't know? Yao Qin asked tentatively. Here, how can we slaves spread rumors about the master's family affairs? Grandma Chen was a little hesitant when she heard Yao Qin's question. She didn't know whether she should say yes or not. Yao Qin stuffed a purse into Chen Mama's pocket when she saw this. Mama, please tell us we are not others and have no other intentions. We are just worried about Madame Han. Please tell us something so that we can feel at ease. Mama Chen was much easier to talk to with the purse in her hand. That's true, you ladies are all good friends with our madam, so there is nothing to hide. However, you ladies have to keep my madam a secret before I dare to tell you. Of course, Mama Chen, don't worry, we are very tight-lipped and will not spread it out, Lu Zhaoxi and others assured her repeatedly. Mama Chen seemed to believe it, so she said, Speaking of our madam's family. After listening to what Chen Mama said, Lu Zhaoxi and others realized that Su's family was so powerful. No wonder the Su family was just a merchant family, but no one dared to touch it. It was actually a branch of the Bayan Marquis mansion. The Tongpan was really nothing in front of the Bayan Marquis mansion. No wonder Chen Mama spoke so toughly. They were really at ease this time. Nanny Chen saw the reactions of Lu Zhao and the others. She was sure that what she had just said would soon spread in the circle in Xinyi. Rebirth of a Farming Wife. Author, Tian Ni. Chapter 185. Su Wenyu was holding 2 sets of small clothes in her hands at this time. Seeing Grandma Chen come in, she joked, "Grandma has been out for so long, but she has made a lot of money. Do you want to share it with us?" "Madam, please stop beating this old slave. This is the reward from Madam Yao." Grandma Chen knew that the master was joking with her, so she took out the purse that Yao Qin gave her, and opened it to find half a tael of silver. This move is not very generous. After all, she is an official's wife. She is here to find out information for Nanny Chen, who serves the master closely. "I won't say too much. I always ask for 2 or 3 taels of silver. This is only half a tael. Not even 1 or 2. However, although Yao Qin was a bit stingy, Su Wenyu could understand it. Not everyone had a natal family with a strong background like hers to help her. The people in Silla town were all low-ranking officials of 7th, 8th, or 9th grade, and most of them except for monthly there are no other subsidies for salary, so it is normal to live a tight life. Since it was earned by Nanny Chen should keep the money, Su Wenyu said. The money was not much to begin with, so Nanny Chen didn't worry about the money and accepted it with a smile. Let these words go out. Although this period of time is pure, no one dares to add insult to injury. If you want to curry favor with Mrs. Tongpan, you have to consider whether it will cause fire, Xiao 11 said with a somewhat unkind tone. Just these days can tell. There were quite a few people, many of whom came to flatter me when my lord was promoted, but when they heard that my wife had offended Lord Tongxian, they just avoided my lady, and some of them even added insult to injury and completely changed their faces. Su Wenyu originally didn't want to tell anyone about the Su family's relationship in Chang'an, but now she let Aunt Chen let the news out. That's what she meant. Even if she didn't want to be high profile, she couldn't let others step on her. But this can't solve all the problems. Mrs. Tongpan probably won't let the matter go just because of these rumors. The relationship in Chang'an is indeed there, but the distance is far from the fire. Even if the county magistrate's wife is interested, help, but after all, even the county magistrate has to listen to the judge, so I don't know what tricks the Wang Sun family will come up with. Mrs. Zhou Wang is a person who refuses to settle down. It has only been 2 days since Su Wenyu refused to pass the verdict on his wife. Seeing that the situation is calm, nothing has happened to Mrs. Wang Sunday. Mrs. Wang Sun has also returned from the provincial capital, and she can't sit still. Thought about it, and came to the Han family again. "Madam, Mrs. Zhou is not a good person this time. Otherwise, you should not see her anymore. Who knows what she is thinking?" The people serving around Su Wenyu didn't have a good impression of the Zhou family. Now Su Wenyu is still pregnant with her child. The most unirritated person was that they didn't want to let Zhou Wang get close to Su Wenyu, lest they worry his wife by saying something that was not true. "No, let's meet. I want to see what she is here for this time." Is it another tip? Although Su Wenyu doesn't want to meet Zhou Wang, she still has to admit that Zhou Wang has some abilities in some aspects. For example, she is relatively well informed in terms of information. Maybe there is some gossip. She doesn't necessarily have to believe it if she knows it. It's always good to be on guard. "Mrs. Zhou, please sit down quickly. Our place has been deserted for several days. I didn't expect Mrs. Zhou to come here at this time, but what's the matter, Su Wenyu asked casually with her back leaning on a big pillow. Seeing Su Wenyu like this, Jo Wang felt that those rumors must be true. She didn't expect that Su was so lucky and her natal family had such a strong background. No wonder she dared to refuse Mrs. Tongxian. At that time, she was still thinking about why Su suddenly acted so stupidly and dared to do so. I have offended Mrs. Tongpan. It turns out that her background is so tough, otherwise she would not have come here today. Look at what Mrs. Han said, I'm not one of those people who follows the crowd. If it's good for you, I'll come forward. If it's not good, I'll stay away. Adding insult to injury is what a villain would do. Besides, Mrs. Han and I hit it off right away, and I'm very fond of her as a person. I admire her very much, and I came here today to see if there is anything I can do to help Mrs. Han. Oh, it turns out that Mrs. Joe is here to help, but our family is doing well recently, and there is nothing that needs Mrs. Joe's help. I'm afraid I will let down Mrs. Joe's good intentions. This Mrs. Joe Wang planned it well. She didn't expect that Su Wenyu wouldn't answer her question at all. How to proceed? If it were someone else who would be embarrassed, Ms. Joe Wang was not an ordinary person. As soon as her brain changed, she immediately had a solution. Method. Mrs. Han is now a heretic. I know everything about you, Mrs. Tongpan and Mrs. Wang. To be honest, I admire your integrity, Mrs. Han. You dare to refuse Mrs. Tongpan. This is not something ordinary people can do, yes, but I admire you. Having said that, Mrs. Tongpan and Mrs. Wang are not that kind-hearted. If Mrs. Han offends them, things will get worse, so we have to find a way to deal with it. Su Wenyu raised her eyebrows. It seems that Mrs. Joe has thought of a way. That's natural, otherwise I wouldn't have come here specially. I was so worried about this that I couldn't sleep well for the past 2 days. After thinking about it, I finally came up with a way, but I still need Mrs. Han to put down your identity and cooperate. That's it? Tell me. What I mean is that I will make peace with you. Mrs. Han, please apologize to Mrs. Wang and admit your mistake. I will also go to Mrs. Wang and tell her not to be unreasonable and let the matter be settled as it is. Yes, Jo Wang said quickly when she saw Su Wenyu's expression turned cold. I know your mother's family has a tough background. I've heard all those things. But no matter how tough your background is, it's still in Chang'an. It's too far away. If something happens, wait until it reaches Chang'an. The dishes are already cold. Lord Tongpan is in charge of our place, not to mention that we all live here so we can't see each other without looking up. It's pointless to make a scene too stiff. Jo Wangshi tried her best to persuade Su Wenyu to do what she wanted. After hearing this, Su Wenyu still didn't understand. Jo Wangshi had a good calculation and wanted to please both sides. Nanny Chen, see the guests off. Originally thinking that Jo had some news, Su Wenyu gave the order to expel the guests without waiting for Jo Wang to finish. Jo Wang came out of the Han family in a state of embarrassment. The expression on her face could no longer be maintained. She never expected that Su Wenyu would do such a trick and directly asked her servants to drive her out. This ungrateful Su, since she didn't if you listen to her advice, just wait for bad luck. I really think you can do whatever you want with Jingqing's idea and not knowing whether it is true or false. Mrs. Jo Wang left angrily and didn't go home. She went directly to Wang's house. She insisted on letting Mr. Su know how powerful she was this time. Anyone who offended her would not end well. Madam, this Wang is narrow-minded and likes to play tricks. You have offended her severely this time. Aren't you afraid that she will do evil behind her back? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of a Farming Wife. Author, TNNI. Chapter 186. It is better to offend a gentleman than a villain. Although Grandma Chen dislikes the Zhou Wang family very much, it can be seen that Su Wenyu feels that it is inappropriate to treat the Zhou Wang family like this. She is afraid that the Zhou Wang family will use tricks behind her back. Now is a troubled time. Although Madame revealed some of her relationship with the capital, others didn't know it, but the servants who were following her knew that Madame had no intention of using that power at all, and she didn't even say anything to the Su family. One less thing. Su Wenyu hadn't thought of this, but even if people like Zhou Wang were not offended, once interests were involved, she would do it behind the scenes no matter how she did it. Too bad, she couldn't let Zhou Wang's idea come true at all. It would be better to fall out early and prepare early, so as not to be unprepared for Zhou Wang's sudden attack. Don't worry, I know it in my heart. The king of Zhou's abilities are limited. No matter how hard you try, you can't turn the world upside down. As for Mrs. Tongpan, she's using the child in her belly as an excuse. If we don't go to Fukan, she can't do anything to me. Su Wenyu did have a plan in mind. If she hadn't been pregnant with a child, she really wouldn't have minded going to see Mrs. Tongpan for a while. The skills she had practiced in the back house in her previous life had become unfamiliar after not using it for a long time. Han Yu is a very controlling person. Most of the servants in the family are from the Su family, but they obviously obey Han Yu's orders. At least they usually do. The movements in the Han family cannot be hidden from Han Yu. As soon as they come back, they will I know that Zhou Wang has come. Didn't I tell you not to let those unnecessary people harass Madam? Next time I come, I'll just stop you outside as expected of a husband and wife. Their attitudes towards the Zhou Wang family are similar. Don't blame them. It was me who asked her to do it. I was just too bored and wanted to see what Mrs. Wang was doing. But this time I offended Mrs. Wang severely. If she is as thick-skinned, I probably won't do it again in the future. Come to the door, you should be careful in the military camp. Mr. Zhou listens to his wife's words, be careful of his little tricks behind his back. Su Wenyu warned uneasily that Lord Zhou would definitely be considered a wife slave, otherwise the Zhou Wang family would not be jumping up and down like this. It was definitely something that Lord Zhou was used to. Su Wenyu envied this aspect of the Wang family, although Han Yu was also very fond of it. Pampering her depends on what the matter is. Issues that touch the bottom line are absolutely non-negotiable, and it is impossible to manipulate her without any principle. You are pregnant with a child. Didn't I tell you not to worry about this? I will take care of everything. Just leave everything to me, Han Yu said helplessly. Su Wenyu did not answer Han Yu's question this time. Instead, she looked at Han Yu with some resentment. My husband, you know that I actually hate Mrs. Zhou Wang, but there is one thing that I envy her for. Do you know what it is? What is it? When Han Yu saw his daughter-in-law acting like this, he knew that her daughter-in-law's problem during pregnancy had happened again, and he was afraid that he would have to torment him again. Since his wife had morning sickness, he had not had this problem for a long time, so he didn't know that he would have to deal with it this time. Will it get worse? Han Yu still had a smile on his face, but in fact he had a headache. He was always ready to deal with all kinds of strange problems from his wife. Master Zhou listens to Mrs. Zhou very much. He will do whatever Mrs. Zhou tells him to do, not like you, Su Wenyu said and punched Han Yu several times with her fist in dissatisfaction. What's wrong with me? Haven't I indulged you enough? I haven't treated you as a treasure. Wife, what else are you dissatisfied with? Can I change it? Han Yu knew that it was time to reason with the facts with his wife. It wouldn't work. The only way was to follow along. Pregnant women were the biggest in the world and he couldn't afford to offend her. No. You are just coaxing me. No matter what, you can never be like Mr. Zhou. You don't allow this or that all day long, and don't listen to me at all. Han Yu stopped refuting now. It was impossible for him to obey his wife as unprincipled as Mr. Zhou. Firstly, he was not a wimp like Mr. Zhou, and secondly, manipulating his wife in some matters was not good for her, but harmed her. His daughter-in-law is a contradiction. Sometimes she feels virtuous and sensible, but sometimes she acts like a child. There is no certain limit, but he has to control it. When Su Wenyu saw that Han Yu was silent, she felt a little suffocated in her heart. She also said that she was doting on her and obeying her. But after a few words, she tried it out and squeezed Han Yu's waist hard. Seeing that Han Yu was calm, the expression on his face changed and he became calmer, with a somewhat proud smile on his face. The privileges of this pregnant woman were quite good, and Han Yu was so rubbed by her that he did not dare to say a word. Han Yu felt a little funny when he saw his wife like this. He curled up his lips quietly. With the strength of his wife, it was just enough to tickle him. It really hurt that much. He just saw that his wife was unhappy. It's just to make his wife happy. Sure enough, her daughter-in-law is still too naive and easy to deceive, but he doesn't want him to worry more. Let's talk about how Zhou Wang left the Han family and went to the Wang family, but she didn't see Wang's son immediately as she wanted. Instead, Wang's son left her alone in the hall. Not only was Su Wenyu disgusted with people like Zhou Wang, but she also Wang's son couldn't stand it either. Seeing how Zhou Wang was jumping around, even if Zhou Wang was useful this time, she had to give her a lesson first and let her know how powerful she was. Our wife has no time to spare right now. If you want to see our wife, just wait here until she has time, the maid next to Sun said in a lukewarm voice. It doesn't matter, I'll just wait here. When Mrs. Wang has time, she can find time to see me again. Could you please pass me a message, Mrs. Wang said and put a purse into the maid's hand, feeling depressed in her heart. Don't say that Su Wenyu's side is unreliable. Now she can only rely on Sun's side. Even at the level of Master Tongjian, Wang doesn't dare to offend Sunday. I can endure it without showing any dissatisfaction on my face. Okay, I will report it to Madam. Just wait here and don't break in, otherwise Madam will blame you. Hey, I know that I won't break in, Mrs. Zhou Wang agreed quickly. When the maid left, her face suddenly darkened. She was treated coldly repeatedly in one day, and her good self-cultivation was gone. Mrs. Wang's son was talking to Mrs. Fang Chen in the room at this time. When she saw the maid who had gone out to deliver the message come in, she looked at each other with a disdainful smile on her face. Did you follow my instructions? How did Zhou Wang react? Wang's son glanced at the maid and asked. The maid told Mrs. Zhou Wang's reaction. Mrs. Wang's son's face showed a bit of pride, and she said to Mrs. Fang Chen, although Mrs. Su is annoying, Mrs. Zhou Wang is not a good person. She should be taught a lesson, otherwise she will still be killed. I really think I am something. Rebirth of a Farming Wife. Author, Tian Ni. Chapter 187. No, I hate the kind of double-dealing people who go around fawning over you the most. This Zhou Wang family is just a wallflower. She was fawning over me before, but then she turned around and went to Su's side. Now she's looking at Su's side. It's unlucky to find you again. You are so uncertain. She thinks she is worthy of being taken seriously. Mrs. Fang Chen was resentful towards Mrs. Su in her heart, and she was also resentful towards Mrs. Zhou Wang for betraying her after using her. In some aspects, she was even more disgusted with Mrs. Zhou Wang. Since Mrs. Wang and Sun wanted to take advantage of Mrs. Zhou, she couldn't say anything. But it is still possible to give the Zhou Wang family some hardship. Mrs. Zhou Wang was sitting in the hall. She couldn't sit still after waiting for a long time and no one came. She thought to herself that she had not offended Mrs. Wang Sunday. Wang's son didn't know why she deliberately left her here. After waiting and waiting, Zhou Wang finally decided to go outside and saw a little maid cleaning the yard. Zhou Wang bribed the little maid and found out that Fang Chen had come over. Zhou Wang was having sex with Fang Chen in the room. Talking, no wonder she was left here. Zhou Wang knew that Fang Chen was disgusted with her, and maybe she said something in front of Wang Sun, which made her feel a little heavy. Mrs. Zhou Wang waited in the hall for a long time before she was finally brought in by the maid to see Mrs. Wang Sunday. Mrs. Fang Chen did not leave. When she saw her coming in, the smile on her face turned cold and she ignored her. Mrs. Zhou Wang was a little agitated. She looked at Wang Sunji awkwardly, but Wang Sunji also ignored her. Mrs. Zhou was angry, but she was a thick-skinned person after all. She had already offended Mrs. Su and could not offend Mrs. Sun again. Mrs. Wang and Mrs. Fang, are they all here? I heard that you want to see me, but what's the matter? I still have something to discuss with Mrs. Fang. If you have anything to say, please tell me quickly and don't waste my time, Wang Sun said without any politeness. Mrs. Wang, I came here because of the Su family. I heard that the Su family has offended Mrs. Tongpan. Why, are you here to intercede with Mrs. Su? If you want to plead for mercy, why don't you do it yourself? She won't think that just because you, Mr. Wang, have such a great reputation, it's ridiculous. Mrs. Wang Sun's words made Mrs. Zhou feel embarrassed again, and she managed to hold it back. Mrs. Wang, you misunderstood. I have no intention of interceding on behalf of Mrs. Su. I had contacted with Mrs. Su before and wanted to find out more information. I'm afraid that Mrs. Su will do something unfavorable to you, Mrs. Wang, but I didn't expect that Mrs. Su would be so ignorant that she would even dare to offend Mrs. Tongxian, and she also looks like she doesn't take anyone seriously. The underlings of her family, he is also very stubborn and doesn't take Mrs. Tongpan and Mrs. Wang seriously at all, just because he has a backer in Chang'an. When Wang Sun heard what Zhou Wang said, she didn't take it seriously at first, but later she became a little concerned when she heard that Zhou Wang was involved in Chang'an. You mean the Su family has contact with Chang'an? Wang Sun asked with a frown. It is the Su family's natal family. It is said that the Su family is separated from the Bayan Marquis Mansion and is a direct branch of the Bayan Marquis Mansion. It is because of this support that the Su family dares to be so domineering and does not take others seriously. Here, I even dare to refuse Mrs. Tongpan's banquet. When Wang Sun heard about it, her expression became a little serious. Although she didn't know much about the Bayan Marquis Mansion, she couldn't afford to offend him just by the word Marquis Mansion. Fang Chen saw that Wang Sun was a little scared after hearing Zhou Wang's words, and she was becoming more and more dissatisfied with Fang Chen. She was afraid that Wang Sun would be frightened and would not dare to trouble Su Wenyu again, and everything would be in vain, so she sneered. Wang Sun was a little surprised to see Fang Chen like this. Qinru, why are you laughing? I laugh at Mr. Wang for talking nonsense. What do you think of us? Who are you kidding, the direct branch of the Bayan Marquis Mansion? If you are really the direct branch of the Bayan Marquis Mansion, you will stay in the capital even if the family is separated. Why would you come here? Maybe some remote side branch that has been out of reach for a few lifetimes is deliberately looking forward to the relationship with the Bayan Ho Mansion, or it may have offended the head of the Bayan Ho Mansion, so it was driven here. This is the rule set by the ancestors of the Su family, and the reasons are naturally not understandable to outsiders. Therefore, Mrs. Wang and Sun felt that it made sense when Mrs. Fang Chen said this. If the Su family really had such a relationship, they would still be living in such a small county. What, most of them are using someone else's banner as a cover. Zhou Wang didn't originally want to help Su Wenyu. She only told those things to show her sincerity. After hearing what Fang Chen said, she also agreed. Who says it's not the case? I was shocked when I heard it. I'm afraid that Su's family will do something detrimental to Mrs. Tongpan and Mrs. Wang. But when I think about it, I feel that something is wrong. If Su's family is so powerful, how can they let Su marry a farmer? Madam, I guess. I still don't know the details of Mr. Han. Before he came to the military camp, Mr. Han was just a farmer with his face turned to the earth and his back to the sky. He got a position in the military camp through the support of the Su family. It turns out that's the case. Those rumors are even more impossible. If it is really a branch of the Bayan Marquis mansion, even if you don't marry a noble son, you must at least be a high-profile figure. How can you be married to a farmer? It can be seen that the rumors it's all unbelievable. Even though Fang Chen hated Zhou Wang at this time, she still followed her words, just because she wanted Su Wenyu to be unlucky. Wang Xinqi was originally half believed in the rumors, but now after listening to the conversation between Fang Qinqi and Zhou Wangxi, she felt more and more that Su Wenyu was afraid of her revenge, and deliberately used the guise of the Bayan Marquis mansion to get her spared. But this is impossible. Whether it's a rumor or not, it doesn't matter whether it's the Bayan Marquis mansion or not. We are in Yiyang mansion here, not Chang'an. Since the Su family dares not to take my son family seriously, she will have to pay the price. Fang Chen and Zhou Wang asked Wang Sun for ways to deal with Su Wenyu. They learned that the wife of the Tongpan would come to Xinyi in 2 days. They all mourned for Su Wenyu. Who is the wife of the Tongpan? She personally took action to deal with Su Wenyu. Su Wenyu can't escape this time. Fang Chen and Zhou Wang got the news from Wang Sunday. Hanyu was also on guard against the Tongpan mansion. The news that the wife of the Tongpan would come to Xinyi in 2 days naturally could not be hidden from him. His face was a little cold. The wife of the Tongpan came to Xinyi County for no reason. There was no other reason except Wang Sun. Master, this is the latest news. Zhang, the wife of Tongpan's son Bachan, was persuaded by Wang Sunday she will go to Xinyi County in 2 days. The purpose is to deal with Miss Su because Sikangyu was not used to the name of Mrs. Han, everyone below called Su Wenyu Miss Su. Madam, how about I invite you over? Even though you don't have any imperial title, you are more experienced in dealing with the wife of the Tongpan, and she will be able to take care of you when the time comes. When Nanny Chen got the news, she became extremely anxious. They could find excuses not to go in the city before, but the wife of the Tongpan was coming to Xinyi now. Rebirth of a Farming Wife. Author, Tian Ni. Chapter 188. Mommy, don't worry. When the soldiers come, they will cover up the water and the earth. Your wife is not so easy to bully. Su Wenyu is not afraid of Mrs. Tongpan. The only thing she worries about is the child in her belly. As the month goes by, her belly becomes bigger and bigger. The older she gets, the more difficult it becomes to move. The only thing Mrs. Tongpan can do is to embarrass her in terms of etiquette. This is unavoidable, but she is confident that she can handle the rest. Hanyu was also thinking about how to deal with it at this time. If the matter was directed at him, he would naturally have a way to deal with it. Now it was directed at his wife, and Mrs. Tongwan had an absolute advantage in terms of status. Hanyu, no matter how capable you are, humans are not gods. It is already very rare to be able to reach this position and maintain it stably. On Sun Tongpan's side, Hanyu originally had no intention of confronting him head-on, but now that Wang Sun had persuaded Tongpan's wife to come to Xinyi, it was impossible for him to let his wife go easily. Hanyu's eyes were cold. If he gave her any more, if he had more time, these wouldn't be a problem, but there were people who couldn't wait to deal with the couple. Even if his wife said she could handle it, Hanyu couldn't rest assured. He couldn't let his wife and children take the slightest risk. Hanyu thought about it and went to use family in person. Previously, he was unwilling to rely too much on the Su family. He not only wanted to prove himself, but also had other factors to consider, but nothing was as important as ensuring the safety of his wife. Hanyu, as long as he thinks about his wife's pregnant belly, he feels a little frightened in his heart, for fear that something will go wrong, not to mention knowing that Mrs. Tongpan is here for his wife. When Mr. Su and Mrs. Su heard that Mrs. Tongpan wanted to embarrass their daughter, they both looked worried and ugly. A look of cruelty flashed across Su Hengxuan's face. He would not let anyone dare to take advantage of his sister. However, the immediate problem still needs to be solved. Although we are not afraid of Mr. Tongpan, this matter is really troublesome. After all, we have been separated from the Bayan Marquis mansion. Apart from our previous identity, we are now just an ordinary merchant. Mrs. Tongpan may not be willing to sell her face and let her live. Mother Mrs. Su's tone was a little bad. She was not unsatisfied with the separation of the family, but the rules set by her ancestors were not something she could object to. Thinking that she was just a merchant's wife, she couldn't even protect her own daughter. The complaints inside were even deeper. Mr. Su pondered for a while and said, "Let's do this. If Mrs. Tongpan comes to visit us, let's wait for 2 days. If we count the days, year, and the others will arrive in a few days." Han Yu's visit to the Su family was not hidden from Su Wenyu. When Su Wenyu heard that her eldest brother was coming back soon, a look of surprise appeared on her face. "Brother is coming back soon. It's great. I haven't seen you for a long time, and I feel like I don't remember my eldest brother." Han Yu heard that his daughter-in-law's tone was a little exaggerated. "It's just a few months since I last saw her." She said it as if I haven't seen her for most of my life. Su Wenyu didn't refute on her face, thinking in her mind that she hadn't seen her for most of her life. She hadn't seen her relatives since she went to that mansion in her previous life. After her rebirth, her eldest brother escorted her grandfather to Chang'an, and he hasn't come back yet. After receiving the news from the Su family, Su Wenyu felt much more at ease. As expected, 2 days later, Mrs. Tongpan sent someone over again, saying that Mrs. Tongpan had arrived in Xinyi County and asked Su Wenyu to go and pay her respects. Su Wenyu had already prepared, having said that, "I held my stomach and pretended to be uncomfortable." The servants had also asked them to do this. When they saw Su Wenyu making this move, those who asked for a doctor asked for a doctor, and those who went to call for people called for people. No one was busy. Time to take care of the nanny sent by Mrs. Tongpan. The grandma didn't know whether Su Wenyu was really uncomfortable or was acting like this on purpose. She stood there with a straight face. It took a while before anyone paid attention to her. "I'm sorry. It's not easy for my master to be pregnant with twins. From time to time, he has some minor problems. Please don't take offense if you neglected Grandma." Grandma Chen took off her hands and said with an apologetic expression. When Grandma Chen saw her like this, she didn't blame her too much. It was just that she had a mission, so she couldn't just go back like this. "I don't know what's going on with Mrs. Han. I came here on the order of Mrs. Tongpan. You have also seen my wife's condition. It is really difficult to be pregnant. The doctor has said that she must stay in bed for the next few days and it is really not suitable to go out. Mrs. Tongpan has the most lenient temperament. I have to bother my mother and Mrs. Tongpan. Let's talk about my wife's situation. I will definitely not be able to visit her in the past 2 days. I don't know how long Mrs. Tongpan will stay in Xinyi. Otherwise, can our wife come to visit her again in a few days?" Grandma Chen looked worried and helpless. It seemed that Su Wenyu was really uncomfortable, not to mention that delaying time would not help. In such a situation, the mother-in-law had no choice but to tell the Han family what she saw. Mrs. Tongpan was also not sure whether Su Wenyu was really uncomfortable or fake. Since she had come to Xinyi, she could not return without success. So she had to wait for 2 more days. She did not believe that Su Wenyu could hide like this all the time. Even if Su Wenyu finds reasons not to come, she will naturally find a way. 2 days later, Su Wenyu didn't come. Mrs. Tongpan sent someone to Su Wenyu's place again, but Su Wenyu had just left. The servant came back to report that Su Wenyu had returned to her parents' home. Mrs. Tongpan's face looked ugly. If Su Wenyu found an excuse to evade, she was hiding from Mrs. Tongpan and was still not so angry, but she went back to her parents' house blatantly. This was not to make it clear that she, Mrs. Tongpan, was not to be taken seriously. Mr. Su is so good, she actually made me fool around with you. Mother, now you know how arrogant the Su family is. She doesn't even take you seriously, let alone me. Wang Sunchi was afraid that her own mother was not angry enough, so she added fuel to the fire. Humph, in that case, let's go to the Su family. I also want to ask Mrs. Su for advice and ask her how she taught her daughter. The magistrate's wife was even angry with the Su family. At this time, Su Wenyu was escorted by Han Yu, sitting in a comfortable carriage, and returned to her mother's home steadily. She originally felt that this was a bit inappropriate. Such an approach might completely anger the magistrate's wife, but Han Yu said that her mother had made arrangements and told her not to worry, so she let Han Yu make arrangements. Su Wenyu still believed in her mother's ability. Since she said such a thing, she must be very sure. I don't know what tricks her mother has prepared to deal with the magistrate's wife. When she arrived at the Su's house, Su Wenyu found that everyone in the family was in a festive mood. There was a big red lantern hanging at the door. Even the servants who were guarding the door looked much more energetic. They stood at the door with their backs straight. Su Wenyu was a little confused and puzzled. Even if her eldest brother came back, it would be too much of a fuss. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of a Farming Wife. Author, TNNI. Chapter 189. Miss and Uncle are back. Madam has been waiting inside for a long time. She specially asked the servant to wait at the door to welcome Miss and Uncle in. The nanny who was serving and was waiting at the door for a long time. When Su Wenyu and the others arrived, he came up and said with a smile. Anton, there is something happy happening at home. Even the red lanterns have been hung up. Could it be that my second brother has promised to marry a wife? Su Wenyu saw Su Hongxian coming out and joked deliberately, knowing that this was happening. It's impossible, but I really can't think of the reason for this change in the family. It's not likely that it's because the eldest brother Su Henji came back. In the past, the eldest brother had traveled a lot, and he didn't have this kind of war. Stinky girl, what are you talking about? Your second brother, I still want to be free for 2 more years. Mom has been nagging me about this matter a lot. Don't pick up any pots and be careful, I will fix you, Su Hongxian said. She glared at Su Wenyu threateningly, and her brother-in-law's lukewarm voice came to mind. If there is anything wrong with you Niang, since I am the husband's supervisor, I don't need to worry about it for my second uncle. However, my second uncle is not young anymore. My mother-in-law is doing it for your own good. She should marry a famous lady as soon as possible, can also determine the nature. Han, please stop meddling in other people's business. You seem to be a gentleman. Unexpectedly, you are also very sinister. Last time, you gave me eye drops in front of my father and asked my father to give me a good scolding. I haven't yet. I'm settling a score with you. If you dare to talk nonsense in front of my mother again, be careful, Su Hongxian said harshly, hating his brother-in-law's insidiousness, because he couldn't stand the good relationship between him and his sister. This is his sister. Second brother, I have a husband now. You can't bully me casually anymore. Moreover, the eldest brother is back. If he knows that you bully me, he will have to fix you. You should be careful, Su Wenyu originally wanted to make peace with me. Su Hongxian said a few words, but she didn't expect Han Yu to speak first and support her. Although he was satisfied, his face also showed a bit of pride, and he made some compliments, which made Su Hongxian angry. The old saying is true. A married daughter throws water away. You stinky girl, I hurt you in vain. I still want my elder brother to fix me. Don't forget who helped you when you sneaked out to play. You have to cover it up, otherwise it will be you who is the one to be repaired by the big brother. You stinky girl. Su Hongxian scolded the stinky girl, but his words were a bit doting and a bit sad. Now that the little girl has grown up, with this stinky man protecting her and pampering her, she no longer needs him as a brother. Su Wenyu was speechless when she saw Su Hongxian's sad expression. Such an expression appeared on her second brother. The painting style was so wrong that she felt a little uncomfortable with it, but she said unforgivingly, "Don't forget, it's whoever wants to take me to the mountains to play. I can't run away from you after repairing it. I will definitely turn you in." Su Hengji was also a little concerned about his sister. Seeing that Su Hongxian had not come back after going out to pick up someone for a long time, he came out to take a look. He happened to see the two younger siblings bickering, and a beautiful smile appeared on his lips. This girl, get married. He still looked like a child, and then looked at Han Yu who was supporting the girl. His eyes were a bit critical, and his scrutiny and dissatisfaction were somewhat similar to Su Hongxian. What are you talking about? You want to fix it or not? What good thing have you two done to ask me to fix it? You are already a big boss. Why are you still standing at the gate bickering? What a shame. Su Hengji was used to being the boss and scolded him as soon as he opened his mouth. Especially to Su Hongxian. Su Hongxian, let's see if you act like a big brother. You won't let me see you bullying my sister again, Brother, you are just partial. Look at how arrogant this girl is. How can I bully her? I would have complained to you as soon as I had something. Brother, you're back. I miss you so much. As soon as Su Wenyu saw Su Hengji, she couldn't care about anything. She jumped up excitedly and ran over. She even forgot that she was a pregnant woman. The two brothers Su Hengji and Su Hongxian were frightened by the sight, which also startled Han Yu, and he hugged the person quickly. You girl, you are still pregnant with a child. Be careful, or you will scare us to death. Su Hongxian saw his sister being hugged by Han Yu, and then he patted his chest and let out a breath. He was really scared to death. Su Hengji saw his sister when he came back, and was startled by her. Then he said with a straight face, "Nonsense. We are all married now, why are we still acting like children? We should be more stable. This it's not serious or serious, what should I do if it hurts the baby in my belly?" When Han Yu saw that his daughter-in-law had been taught a lesson by his two uncles, he stopped talking about her, and it was not good to do it in front of his two uncles. He had better go home to educate his wife. Su Wenyu smiled coquettishly, knowing that she was being scolded but did not dare to refute. She also saw that her eldest brother was too excited, thinking about her eldest brother who had loved her since she was a child. In her previous life, she had hurt her eldest brother's heart again and again because of her willfulness and nonsense. Then traveled further and further away, and finally lost contact, and I couldn't help but shed tears. What's going on? I don't want to teach you a lesson, but you are now a mother. I am afraid that you may accidentally hurt the child in your belly, so why do you start crying? Su Hengji saw that his sister was crying without any warning. He cried and panicked for a moment. He felt that his tone was not too harsh, so why did he make people cry? Han Yu knew that his wife was sensitive after pregnancy, and he was afraid that he might make her sad again, so he quickly coaxed her, "Daughter-in-law, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" "Brother, it's for your own good. I'm fine. I just haven't seen you for too long, big brother. Big brother, I miss you, woo woo." Su Wenyu looked at Su Hengji with tears in her eyes, asking for a hug. Han Yu, who understood the reason, frowned and felt jealous. He originally thought that his wife and his second uncle had a good relationship, but now there was an older uncle who made his wife miss him even more. Seeing her crying, he wondered if his wife would be like this too. Let alone Han Yu, Su Hongxian felt a little unbalanced when he saw it from the side. They were both brothers. He had never seen his sister miss him so much when he came back from a long trip before. Su Hengji saw that his sister missed him so much that she even cried. Although he felt a little distressed, he was more relieved and happy. He felt that his love for his sister was not in vain. He also liked Han Yu, his brother-in-law, a lot more. He coughed lightly and said, "Well, brother-in-law, my sister is just a spoiled one. After all, we spoiled her since she was a child. It's normal for her to be a little spoiled, but she is the most sensible and obedient. You should bear with her more. Besides, she is pregnant with your child now, which is hard work. You should be more considerate and don't be too picky with her." Rebirth of a Farming Wife. Author, Tianni. Chapter 190. Can he refuse to agree to this? She was afraid that he had bullied her, as if she had bullied his sister. She was also his wife, wasn't she? He loved and doted on her before it was too late, and he wished that the person he held in his hands was so wrong after listening to the words coming out of Su Hengji's mouth. Seeing Su Hengji, Han Yu suddenly felt that Su Hongxian, who had been an eyesore before, was much cuter. At least with Su Hongxian, he wouldn't have that feeling of being depressed but unable to express it. Of course, Han Yu didn't deny it. What he couldn't stand even more was the relationship between his wife and her eldest brother-in-law, which was even better than that between her and her second eldest brother-in-law. It was unreasonable for men to be jealous. For example, Han Yu couldn't bear to see that his wife had eyes for someone else. Men couldn't. Neither can women. "Brother, don't worry, Yu Yiniang is my daughter-in-law. It's too late for me to love her and pamper her. How can I care about her? I just like Yu Yiniang like this. Besides, although Yu Yiniang is occasionally a little temperamental, she is still virtuous and sensible most of the time. I am lucky enough to marry a good wife like Yu Yiniang in my previous life, and I will treat her well." Han Yu's attitude was absolutely sincere, but the two brothers Su Hengji and Su Hongxian felt uncomfortable hearing it, and they felt that Han Yu had a proud face. The smile is very thin. The three men's thoughts changed, but Su Wenyu was extremely happy. Several brothers and sisters were outside and refused to go in, and a little maid came out to urge her. Su Wenyu was a little strange. Normally, her mother would have come out to greet her, not to mention that she was now pregnant. "Eldest brother, second brother, what good things happened at home? Why do I feel like something is wrong?" Su Wenyu asked, but Su Hengji and Su Hongxian smiled and did not answer. Su Wenyu didn't ask any questions when she saw that they were lying, and went to An's place with Han Yu. When she arrived at the door, she heard a burst of laughter, and the sound inside was strange and familiar. "Yu Yetu is back. We haven't seen each other for so many years. Let grandma see what our Yu Yetu looks like when she is born." Most of the direct descendants of the Su family are sons, but there are a few daughters born by concubines, and the grandchildren of the legitimate daughters are just Su Wenyu is the only one who seems to be particularly precious. After not seeing each other for so many years, old Mrs. Su is still thinking about her little granddaughter. If not for An's insistence, old Mrs. Su would have wanted to keep Su Wenyu by her side. Su Wenyu did not expect that old Mrs. Su would come to Xinyi with her elder brother. She was surprised at first and also a little surprised. Although she was not familiar with the old lady and only had vague memories of her childhood, Su Wenyu still remembered that the old lady loved her very much. No wonder her mother loved her so much. "I personally decorated the entire Su mansion in a joyous manner, which turned out to be to welcome the old lady. Old people like a more festive atmosphere. Grandma, my granddaughter Yuiniang has met my grandma. Grandma is fine. Su Wenyu was originally a little worried about Mrs. Tongpan's affairs, but the moment she saw Mrs. Su, she felt completely at ease. Okay, okay. Back then, Yuxia was a cute little girl who was as cute as a snow dumpling. Now she has become a mother. I heard your mother say that you are pregnant with twins this time. The old lady was worried about her granddaughter. I asked a lot about my granddaughter. Knowing that the old lady was coming, Su Cai and Su Yun, two concubines, were also called back. They had been here to accompany the old lady early. If they had curried favor with the old lady, they would have their own benefits, but it was a pity that the old lady was not very good. They are willing to talk to them. The Su family is also a well-established family that pays the most attention to rules. There are clear boundaries between the concubine and the concubine. The master of the Su family also has a clear attitude towards the concubine. Seeing the way the old lady treated Su Wenyu's baby, Su Cai and Su Yun thought about the old lady's indifference to them before and refused to even ask another question. They were angry in their hearts and did not dare to show it on their faces, but occasionally they couldn't help but still revealing a little emotion, and saw it in his eyes, and a sarcastic smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Yes, the doctor said that I am pregnant with twins, and the children in my belly are fine. Grandma can wait to hold her great-grandson. I would say you are a lucky one. This is the first time our family has such a happy event. But after all, you are still young. Giving birth is a dangerous thing, and you are pregnant with twins. Needless to say, it is hard work. You have to do well. Just take care of yourself. The old lady was a little worried when it came to the twins. She was worried not only because Su Wenyu was the first child, but Su Wenyu had a small frame and looked delicate and petite. Thank you, Grandma, for your concern. Mother sent 2 nannies to take care of her. It's very appropriate. My granddaughter will also pay attention to it. Su Wenyu and the old lady chatted for a long time before they came out and went to Anne's room together. Only then did Su Wenyu ask her doubts. Mom, why did Grandma come here this time? Do you want to live here forever? Su Wenyu didn't mean anything else, she was just concerned. The situation in Chang'an is not very good. Your uncle and others want all the female relatives to come over and take shelter with us. Your grandmother came here first. Later, your aunt and others may also come over in a short time. I'm afraid I won't leave, Anne said with a calm face. The old lady and the others would naturally have a lot of inconveniences if they came to live there, but there was nothing that could be done about it. The old lady came at the right time and solved the trouble for her daughter. I didn't expect the situation in Chang'an to be so complicated. I'm afraid there won't be many stable days left, Su Wenyu sighed. After experiencing what happened in her previous life, she knows best how chaotic the court is now, but fortunately her father, she and her eldest brother all listened to her reminder and made preparations early. The wife of the Tongpan was coming to the Su mansion, and she had put on a great show. In order to show her status, she first sent someone to inform the Su mansion and asked the Su mansion to arrange the reception. However, when they arrived at the gate of the Su mansion, not to mention the grand reception, there was not even a single master of the Su mansion. There were only a few guards at the gate. When they saw them coming, they just raised their eyelids and ignored them. They really didn't take them seriously. What's going on? Didn't you inform the people of the Su mansion that my mother was coming? Why didn't anyone come to greet her? Wang Sunqi came with them. She originally wanted to show off her power with her own mother, but she didn't expect to be treated so coldly. She immediately questioned the servant who was sent to inform them with dissatisfaction. To reply to the young lady, I have already informed them, and the people of the Su mansion said they knew about it. The servant who was sent to deliver the message was afraid that the master would misunderstand and blame him, so he hurriedly explained, but he didn't say that the attitude of the people in the Su mansion was really bad at that time and they were not willing to pay attention to him. Then what's going on? It's fine that Su Wenyu is rude and impolite, but the Su family is so arrogant. Don't they know that the Tongpan's wife is here? A small merchant like them can't afford to neglect the Tongpan's wife. Wang Sun's voice was a little loud when she said this, deliberately trying to make the people in the Su family hear it and feel frightened, but it obviously had no effect.